All right, guys. Yay, we're back.
All right, guys. Yay, we're back. All right,
That's
guys.
going to keep echoing forever. Yay. All right, there's the infinite. Hi, everyone. I see Sarah and Kristen and like a gajillion people. We've got a couple of hundred viewers. So very cool, guys. And just welcoming everybody. Joan from Mastic Beach and Randy from New York and everybody. And as I said, if you've got some friends that you think should be on this particular program, please let them know. You can send them the call information. So again, I want you guys to know that one of the things that happens is that we're literally the first chapter of the Wide Awakening Handbook was actually the subject we just covered. And I want to read you, because that's what we're going to be doing in Quantum Wake-Up Calls for this entire year, the quote that came with that particular last section. What if it is not that we create our lives so much as it is that the dream of our life is already dreaming us? What if the magical unfoldment that is the blessing of our life is only a matter of the full participation in the dance? What if it's not a matter of chasing a magnificent life? What if the magnificent life is actually the result of your full participation in the dance that the entire universe has put before you? That is the grace. It's the assumption that the universe already had you, has you. You chose this journey, and the gift of bridging this world into heaven is not only meaning more heaven for you, but it also assists everyone to awaken to that same degree of fluidity. And everything fluidity, guys, really means everything coming to you. That's what all of our work is about. It's about having life come to you. Not for your ego's sake, but because that's how we're designed. We're actually designed to go direct with life. The purpose of human being, is to create upon creation, not excavate all the reasons why we're not creating upon creation and living in abundance. I'm going to say that again. The purpose of being alive was always, will always be, to be in the flow, going direct with all of our manifest levels, all of our guidance levels, to be able to create with other human beings and other beings upon creation, upon what already exists, to take things where it has not been before, to take life where it hasn't been before, to have fun, to enjoy. The purpose of life is to fully live it. The purpose of life is not to spend lifetimes excavating who you are not so that you can finally get to what I was just talking about. That's not why we're here. So there was an exercise for that quantum wake-up call, the quantum wake-up call that was before this one. And there will be an exercise, something to participate in, which you can journal in your book, by the way. For those of you that sign up for Quantum Wake-Up Calls for the year, you'll be able to write your notes in the book, and it's going to be a juicy, delicious journey together. So the exercise for our last session is to choose something every day. Now listen closely, because for some of you, you're gonna realize how hard this actually is. To do something solely for you that calls your heart, that you don't need to justify it by making sure that someone knows that you're making a difference for them. You don't have to do that thing because it'll make your kids better people. You don't have to engage that thing because it's going to, save the world. You're going to do it because your heart calls to it. That is heaven on earth. It is not hedonistic. It's absolutely getting back to yourself and honoring the unique expression of all of creation that is you. And in doing so, you put yourself back in the flow with creation and you activate things you can't imagine. Your job is to report back. One of the places you can report back, of course, is on our Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/Wide Awakening. Okay, guys. Forward, onward, and here we go. So I really do want to hear what happens from you guys doing that. Every day, taking time to put yourself at the top of that totem pole, knowing that the entire universe conspired to make sure you were here in a time of great awakening and that you are a piece of the puzzle of heaven on earth, and that to honor everybody else over you instead of to be in communion with all of it, including you, is to actually take yourself out of the dance you were meant to go on. So the exercise I just told you is to put you back in the groove with fluidity. Just do it. All right. Our topic for now is when you're not sure how. What does that mean? What do we mean by when you're not sure how? And again, I so want to welcome everybody who's new to Quantum Wake Up Calls. For those of you who are joining us for the first time on this particular call, I want you to know that the Cole's notes of the last call at the beginning, if anyone wants to, I highly recommend you listen to that because it'll give you an idea of, how I came to this. I definitely did not see myself doing this the rest of my life. In fact, I believe that part of my being able to bridge people from a place of having life be filled with struggle and not quite grasping all of who they are to this place is because I did not know myself this way for, I would say, the majority of my life. And then because of an inquiry into the reason why I was getting migraines, and then as a result developing the largest holistic nutrition practice in Canada, I started to be able to see energy, see people. Never had happened to me before as far as I could remember, except when I used to be able to talk to my dog when I was 5 years old. But, I shut that down pretty fast because it made me weird and it made me not fit in. So I started being able to see, feel, hear. I started embodying the innate abilities that every human being has the capacity to do. And as I do that, I'm able to pay it forward by not only having these conversations on an intellectual level, but also, more importantly, on a multidimensional level, in these conversations, giving the mind enough peace that the frequencies can get through and activate the deeper truth of who you are, which is a far more powerful aspect of what it is that we're doing here, because it is the fast track. It transcends the contemplation and the need to know, and it actually does the work beyond the overthinking things that I know none of you do, but there are other people out there in the world that overthink things. So as we start, what I'd like to do is, and what you're hearing me do as I speak very, very quickly and I sound like I have notes prepared, I have no notes prepared. There are never any notes prepared for Quantum Wake Up Calls. This is the collective speaking through, all of you speaking through collectively with me over the course of 2 1-hour calls on 2 separate subjects where you guys can ask me questions. And by the way, I'm about to answer 2 of the people's questions that were on Instant Teleseminar. Very powerful questions that everyone's been asking. And what the power of these Quantum Wake-Up Calls is that it gets the mind out of the way. It puts you in a state of peace and it allows you to understand what's actually going on so that you don't go on the roller coaster ride of not understanding. And as consciousness shifts, you're able to understand the consciousness shifts and understand what the solar flares do and understand why your body is doing this or that as the awakening happens, and then being able to be an even more profound leader because you're able to stop questioning what's happening to you. And you'll realize that what is happening to each of us and what it's going to take to get this planet to a place of that harmony that we're all seeking, you are all a part of it. You're the heaven on earth construction crew. You are, or you wouldn't be on this call. That's how magnetics work. So being able to understand your power and your innate abilities and how to fly forward, that's what quantum calls are all about. And they give you the leading edge of consciousness activation such that we're excavating the higher frequencies that come about, because as people awaken, they have deeper understandings of the truth of who we are, which causes deeper creations, deeper understandings of what's possible for us. And because of that, consciousness then expands and we're able to see new things. Quantum wake-up calls do not stand still. They're never the same call. And the leading edge information that comes from the journey of creating upon creation and the deeper consciousness that comes up as we awaken, that's where we live on quantum wake-up calls. It's for the people that want to go on the adventure of understanding this leading edge of the awakening. And it's for people who have always been the seekers, who don't necessarily want to adhere to belief systems that worked 12 years ago or 8 years ago or whatever. They're willing to let go of all they've ever known in order to go on the journey of remembering all of who they are. So we have, hopefully that gives you an idea. In Quantum Wake-Up Calls this year, I just gave you an exercise from the first chapter of the book. This will be from the second chapter of the book, and this is about when you're not sure how. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to read what this particular, or at least a synopsis of what this chapter is talking about. Maybe not the whole thing, which goes into a little bit more detail, but I'll read some of it so that you can get an idea of what we're talking about here and where we're headed, how we're going to full circle. When you don't know how, it really is it's like all of these ideas, all these possibilities are coming to you, or you perceive that you're stuck, which you never are, but you perceive that you're stuck or that things aren't changing or moving, and you want to know how. But I'm going to put a monkey wrench into your wanting to know how, so that you can actually get on the fast track and transcend needing to know how and simply live the answer. That's what we're going to talk about. So first, let me read a little bit from the chapter. If we waited for the mind to know how to do everything before we did it, there would be no more room for miracles. Think about that. Hold on. Everybody just breathe for a second. I'm going to read that part again. I want you to hear it. If we waited for the mind to know how, so that we could feel safe because the mind now knows how. It's the only way we're ever going to get anything happening is if the mind knows how. Just think of how much more effortful that is. If we waited for the mind to know how to do everything before we did it, there would be no room for the miraculous. Because by definition, guys, the miraculous comes from what we don't know. A miracle, by definition, is something unexpected. Now, I am far more interested in making miracles become normals, but what that would take is transcending the egoic state of constantly needing the mind to know how. What if the goal is to follow our hearts, take the first step, take action, and let the entire universe orchestrate the symphony of hows? All the hows that we came here to enjoy the unfoldment of. This is not about, this lifetime is not about staying safe by knowing how in every step. In fact, the very innate abilities that we came complete with, those very innate abilities, I keep being reminded to look at the camera, but I'm listening to my high. I just want you to know that when I'm looking off, I'm not looking at anything. I'm not looking at my dog. There's not someone in the room, or maybe there is. But what I'm looking at is the energies and the responses that are here, the living entities that are the responses. So I want to make sure that you know that I am speaking to you. But that's what happens to me. That's how I hear things. So understand that knowing how is the booby prize. Because as we embody the encodements, the innate abilities that came with human beings that allow us to experience life directly, we don't want to wait to hear our guides. I'm not listening to my guides, even though guidance is coming through me. I'm not listening to my angels, even though angelic presences are all around me and facilitating this. I'm not waiting for my manifestational realms to come to fruition. They're coming through me as we speak. Full embodiment does not mean you can hear your guides and angels. Full embodiment means that there is no more separation. So by definition, you wouldn't want to talk to them or know who they are. It would be irrelevant because you'd be having too much fun going direct with all of life. Do you understand? It's a whole different way of perceiving this existence. And I want to make sure that you guys really understand what that means. Because this isn't none of what we do. I used to teach 10 years ago, I taught talking to your guides and angels. But the evolution of that is they're actually an aspect of you in the encodements, the 12 encodements of DNA. Who you are. If everyone can close their eyes for a moment and just feel what I'm saying. Let the parts of you that listen beyond your ears, which are your telomeres, 75 trillion sender-receiver satellite dishes, lying at the center of every one of your 75 trillion cells. Let your telomeres hear, every cell in your body hear what I'm about to say, what I'm about to emanate, as it were. You, my lovely, are a response to the asking of billions of people who've come before you and civilizations you don't even know about. You are the answer to the incongruencies and struggle of humanity, or you would not be here in a time of great awakening. You are equipped with abilities that you have not fully let come to fruition. Oh, sure, you get glimpses of them. Oh, sure, you live some of them because you had practiced them in other lifetimes. But you have 24 innate abilities that would have you communing directly with all of consciousness. And in your dualistic world, you've called God separate, and angels separate, and guidance separate, and nature separate. And none of it is separate. You are all of that. You have your own unique aspect in the multi-dimensions of you, that as you embody all of who you are, you'll be able to go direct with all of consciousness. You won't care that your mind knows what the answers are, because you'll be in direct cahoots with life, living it directly with your guidance. As you put your foot down, the ground will come up to meet your foot, because that's what the extraterrestrial, the other dimensional realms of you do. The universe not only has your back, it is your back. So, if that were true, and you had the ability to commune directly with all of consciousness, and remember, in these conversations together, I want to be very clear, since there are so many people, new people on these quantum wake-up calls. I am definitely not here to be a guru. I have absolutely no interest in doing that whatsoever. What that does, guruizing teachers and healers and people who stand up on stages, what that does is it literally has you give your power away to them as though they can do something that you don't have the capacity to do. And I'm here to tell you that anything you've ever seen on a stage, you have the capacity to do, including moving a room of 1,000 people to tears. All of you have that capacity. I've certainly witnessed it firsthand, being on stage in front of thousands of people. And it doesn't mean you're going to do that just in case your ego just freaked out. What I will say, however, is this. that if you have the capacity to spontaneously heal, to live your universalis, all-seeing, all-knowing states in a body on a planet, to marry the two, to experience divine love, you have those capacities. If you have the capacity to dance directly with nature and your guidance realms, and there's no longer separation, who cares about knowing first? Do you understand? So, from that place, I'm going to answer a few of the questions that some of you had on Instant Teleseminar, as well as in other places. So I see that there's a bunch of people on the webcast. I am going to just answer a couple of questions. Let's see. We would not even have computers if we let our if we let our minds stay in charge. Absolutely, Mary. If one is responsible for an elderly parent who lives far away, how do I move forward with my healing practice without getting so caught over there? There are a few questions I'm going to answer. They were really good questions from the last time, and they pertain to this time. So, Donna, what I'm going to tell you is this. You aren't responsible. Now, you guys, I'm going to say this. You got to hear the full. Let me finish all of what I'm about to say, so don't get too caught up in what I say at the beginning. You're not responsible for an elderly parent. Let go of your responsibility for them. However, you do love them, and you're called to do certain things. The things that you're called to do from the purest place of your heart, Donna, will only expand your consciousness. We have a perception of where we think we might need to get to, but in fact, some of the life experiences that come our way are actually part of us getting to what we're going to do in your healing practice. What I will say is this. Right now, there's not very much healing going on in the world, so much as activating the truth of who we are. Healing is not really what happens, so much as helping people to remember who they are. And that's really what you do, Donna. So, and Joan is just asking what I think about theta healing. Listen, every single thing, all the way from Louise Hay to the Secret movie to Abraham Hicks, they're all steps on the path. But remember, going direct is simply going direct. The need for tools or processes, including a lot of people from Access Consciousness do our work, because it transcends even the need to move energy and do the techniques and all of those things. When you simply embody all of who you are, you can go direct, and the need to use techniques starts to dissipate, because you simply have embodied the aspects of you that you're trying to get to through all the techniques, so you sort of skip the process. And whatever you're called to, I would do, because it's a part of you going on the stairs of your deeper understanding. So I don't judge any of that. I think it's all part of it. Another question was, how can we repair our bodies? And Randy, the answer to that question is this. For me, the answer is always embody your innate abilities, because as you do that, things start to repair as you come to the higher frequency. It doesn't always feel very comfortable. So I'm going to answer some of the questions that I heard on the phone, and then I'm going to go to some of the Skype questions, because these all pertain to knowing, don't they? So Lori asks, she feels like she's on the roller coaster ride, like her eyesight is coming and going, which happened to me as well. My eyesight right now is coming back. Why do we have these food cravings, like this eating thing, and then the eyesights, and then you feel like sometimes you're totally on track and then you're off track, you're totally in your flow and then you're not? Okay, I'm going to answer two people's questions in one fell swoop here, because Joan asked the question. She had an amazing experience of seeing all of who we are. And Joan, yes, people have these experiences. I've had that experience. She asked the question and she got shown. And what I'm going to say is I'm going to put it into language that, if you will, if everyone would be willing to experience the language, if everyone would be able to experience the frequencies, just breathe for a second. Who you are is the idea of all of consciousness being dreamed by the asking of humanity and other civilizations for more heaven. You are the carrier of the dream of heaven. And as you expand that into your life, because you are all of consciousness at the deepest part of you, you are the most amazing self-perpetuating torus of energy. A soul whose collective experiences contribute as a piece of the puzzle of heaven on earth. Also, God expressed in human form, here to create upon creation and to enjoy the expanding fluidity using the skill sets that you've developed over lifetimes. You are infinite. You do not die. And because you are all of that, and you haven't been all of that in thousands of years of lifetimes, you've been living, now please allow yourself to see this with your mind's eye. You've been living as though you are separate from all of consciousness. You have been living like God is out there, and you got led astray. You've been living as though you need strategies and that you're alone on this planet with no other dimensions but the third. You've been living as though the mind is your friend when the mind is the only thing that's usable in 3 dimensions. You've been living that way. That schizophrenic roller coaster ride where you're in the flow and out of the flow, where you're having great sleeps and hardly needing any sleep, and then you're sleeping for 12 hours, where you're eating perfectly clean diet and then you need to eat chocolate for 3 days straight, where you're a vegetarian and now you're eating meat again, or the other way around. All of those things are occurring. The food things are occurring because your body is asking for certain nutrients to assist your 3-dimensional physicality and biology. It needs some of those nutrients to be able to upgrade and for you to have the fastest upgrade possible. But the rest, the ups and downs, is your essence and your beingness and your body getting used to the fluid state of full embodiment whilst the density still exists out there. And to the degree that you're on the roller coaster ride is the degree to which also you're judging the density that's coming up from within you over the past thousands of years. The incongruencies and belief systems from your ancestry, familial, galactic, and otherwise, they are all coming up. But the problem is we've been used to analyzing them and looking at them and doing lots of work on them. When in this time of great awakening, and I can tell you firsthand that Get Out of Your Own Way is a prime example of this. I've seen thousands of people where we transmute things that they've been working on for 20 years in 10 minutes. Because when we disengage, which you'll learn all about in Get Out of Your Own Way, when you disengage, you're able to actually allow the higher frequencies of you to transmute all of that without years of work on it, literally in moments. So the roller coaster ride occurs also because there is a reality to these shifts in 3 dimensions, and it feels unfamiliar. And what we have to do is get comfortable. This is not about discomfort going away. It's about getting comfortable with the uncomfortable as we're still going through the transition from who we've been to who we actually are. So that is the answer to that question, Lori. Next, I hope that you're starting to see the tremendous benefit of quantum wake-up calls as we go on these amazing conversations, and every single one is like this, on different subjects, just as deep, and in fact we just get deeper as the year goes on. So I hope many of you will be able to join us. I'm going to go to some of the other questions now that gorgeous Jeannie is putting in front of me. What I'm noticing also on your comments in live stream is that there's a tremendous amount of mental chaos. You'll notice how much the mind wants peace. And part of being able to go direct with all of consciousness is actually answering these questions such that the mind can have peace. And the question from Hawaii is, so that means that bringing understanding also means seeing more pain and lack of congruence. No, it doesn't mean that. So it means that bringing more understanding, you see, in the world of awakening, in the world where we've been, it's been dualistic. What that means is there has to be more light to understand the dark. There has to be sadness to have happiness. There has to be love to have hate. There has to be, or fear, or whatever you think the opposite is. And what I'm saying to you is this. In all of consciousness, consciousness just keeps expanding forward in more heaven. The truth is we've invented a dualistic world where there's a yin and a yang, but in reality, that's a human-invented paradigm. More understanding means more understanding, which means more flow, which means more joy, which means more freedom. However, the yearning for more fluidity means that in this time of great change, you personally may watch a lot of the stuff that isn't you come up, which may be incredibly uncomfortable. Another reason for quantum wake-up calls, because one of the things that's happening for the so-called not belonging club, which is all of us, and that leading edge, is that we don't want to do it alone anymore. We don't want to be by ourselves anymore. So the next question from Donna says, what do you do when one is always you are staying in integrity and everyone else is taking advantage of you? Okay, Donna, I hope you're going to love my answer. If people are taking advantage of you, then you're not in integrity to yourself. You know, it's very, very, very interesting. I literally just wrote and just sent to my lovely, let's say, master of my universe, Jeannie. I'm going to read it to you. You guys are going to get a sneak peek of, every week I do a channeled message and I send it out. It's called an Awakening Weekly. You can sign up for those at thewideawakening.com. On the upper right-hand side, you also get an activation called the Be the Change activation. So if you're not on our newsletter, I highly recommend that you go. But I literally just sent to Jeannie a whole interesting awakening message, all on the idea of integrity. And I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version of that particular awakening message. You'll get the full one next week on the Awakening Weekly for those of you that are on it. Donna, listen very closely. Integrity from an ego point of view is doing what you say. Integrity from an awakening point of view is making sure that you follow your heart and you listen to your instincts before you say anything, such that you would never be taken advantage of. It's also being willing to change what you're committed to when you notice that what you're doing is not congruent. Integrity in awakening is called congruency. Congruency is following the path of most flow and stopping something when it's completely out of congruency and isn't in honoring of you. Okay? We have a message for next week about that. Definitely, if you're not on Weekly Awakenings, I would sign up for them, Donna, because that message will be so powerful for you. Let's see. The next one is from Hawaii again. Let's see. Oh, nope. Nope. These are all the same questions. Okay. How can you be in flow when the pain is so intense? Well, unfortunately, when some things come up, it really requires that we don't engage them. And I've had lots of, recently, it's very interesting. One of the things that comes up, and I think I'm going to share this because, see, in the world of answering or responding to what the subject of this quantum wake-up call is, where we want to know how, it's so important to put the mind at peace so you realize how fully taken care of you actually are. And in doing that, it releases eventually the need to know how. So the reason why I'm answering this question is because, it's a powerful conduit towards understanding that you were always taken care of, because at some point we're all going to have to stop asking questions and just go on the journey of who we are as a piece of the puzzle of heaven on earth, and understand that the entire universe has us, always had us. So we have pain. So I originally got into holistic nutrition and the whole world of the so-called woo-woo, which I was not in. I was in economics and accounting because I got migraine headaches, severe pain, 2, 3, 4 times a month. And it took me a long time, but I started to attract all sorts of people that had migraines, which, by the way, is very typical of people who are awakening, or people that are on the leading edge, because they tend to be very sensitive. And what was fascinating to me is that I would go and lie in bed and I would take myself out of my body. I could go to the dentist and I could not get freezing or any kind of, is another innate ability. I didn't need any kind of drugs in order to go to the dentist, and they could drill away. So, because they just became fascinating experiences rather than things that I judged as suboptimal. This is quite fascinating. Now, it's only fascinating from the point of view that you're not engaged. In order to not engage, we have to allow ourselves to go to the place where disengagement is possible. But when we've been feeling pain for a long time, like I was with those migraines, it seemed almost impossible. And what I can tell you is this, that, Advil helped. See, I don't judge anything. All of it is in a body on a planet and asked for a reason. And then what happened was I had an awakened dream that was part of me being able to do all this. All of what I'm doing now occurred because of that pain. And what happened was I saw who we were energetically in an awakened dream. I totally got where the migraines were coming from, and I understood them fully. I understood the pressure I put on myself, which, by the way, the same thing happens to me. I still have this drive and this urgency forward to understand more deeply consciousness and to pay it forward. It is my piece of the puzzle of heaven on earth to be able to pay that forward to all of you, and we can be in communion together. But that sense of urgency no longer has an egoic part that occurred as pressure. Like I have to get somewhere now. Like I have to get there right away. Like I have to be there. Like there's stuff to do. And if I don't do it, something's going to fail. Like I'm a straight A student in this and all the pressure. And as soon as I saw that there was a difference between the sense of urgency and the adventure of going on the journey of what that urgency was bringing me, it all switched, because no longer was society involved. It simply was an independent adventure co-created with my fellow co-conspirators to discover and fully experience and roll around in and appreciate the deliciousness of the unfolding miracle that we are. And that the urgency was only an urgency to be able to enjoy life even at a deeper level. and that there really was no pressure that was invented by human beings to keep our ego involved. And as soon as I saw that, the headaches dissipated, the pain was less, and before long I didn't have any until recently. You will notice that a lot of the pains that you've ever experienced, that maybe you even have learned to manage with nutrition, are starting to come up again, you would think, but they're not. What's happening is a lot of this is coming up, but it's coming up to leave. As you rise to higher frequencies and you have deeper understandings of life, those deeper understandings bring more love and more peace in the body, and everything that isn't congruent with peace and fluidity in your life is going to come up to leave. But the problem is, when it comes up to leave, your physicality is going to experience it. If you judge it from the paradigm of where we've been, which is, oh my God, I have to address it. Oh my God, I'm going backwards. Oh my God, I need energy work. Oh my God, da da da. All of these things are our crazed ego trying to, give us something to have a grip on. When in actuality, it's not coming up so you can analyze it and understand why. Your higher self doesn't give a crap why, truly. It's coming up so you can be free. The appropriate response to those things going on is thank you. So from New York, someone is asking, aligning with intense energy is like happy juice and is exhilarating, but I fall out with intention. You're not aligning with universal energy. I want to be very clear. You are actually remembering who you are. And when I say remembering, I mean remembering it. So let me show you who you are. You are a cosmic 3-year-old known as creation coming forth in a human body, here to create upon what was. You have had innate abilities lying dormant that lie in your subatomic DNA. That DNA holds encodements for you to be able to experience the heaven that this earth and this universe already was, already is, and continues to be and will always continue to be. Your embodiment, and I use that word very deliberately, of the abilities to experience life on the heavenly level that it already was, is very different than aligning with energies. It's upgrading your entire biological being to experience your surroundings and everyone, even the people you think are most ornery, as heavenly. And if they are not, to know and see, because you're operating from 30,000 feet, what there is to say, to move energy on all of it without judgment. Without judgment at all. So I want to make sure that that is entirely and completely understood. And thank you, Jeannie, for summarizing people's questions for me. It really helps. So, so let's see. I think, yeah, it's very powerful, guys. So, all right. So I'm glad you guys are starting to see the difference and starting to see what it is that we're talking about. It's a whole different world. It really, really is. So let's see what the exercise is for this particular section. Let's see what there is to do from here. As far as, we went through the chapter on understanding how and not needing to do that. That's really the booby prize, you guys. It is important, however, to ask the questions. That is part of what I'm here for. That is part of what Quantum Wake-Up Calls are here for. to have you fully understand who you are, why you're here, what's happening to you, why it's happening, what's happening to the world, what's happening to the economy, to see the deeper energies of all of it, to understand, even though something looks horrific, what's actually going on behind the scenes, the deeper truth and the deeper understanding of it all, so that a community of people in the world can actually understand the deeper knowing and the deeper seeing, and it actually activates your ability to do the same, which is one of the points of doing this. So Quantum Wake-Up Calls, I really encourage you guys, if you're not on Quantum Wake-Up Calls, as I said, Get Out of Your Own Way is a powerful program where people, there's 30 people in a room with me, and we're transmuting hundreds and sometimes thousands of belief systems, setting you free. And some people can't fly to meet us for Get Out of Your Own Way, or they're having a hard time making ends meet. Well, Quantum Wake-Up Calls are a way to you can do it in 2 payments. It's $497. And it includes the Wide Awakening Handbook, from which this idea came. This is chapter 2. We already did chapter 1. And so the next one will be chapter 3. So, and the link for you, I think Jeannie can put the link for live stream. It can be right there if you want to sign up. And for those of you that are listening, you'll notice I tell you about things, but I will never sell you on things. I'm so committed to operating from a paradigm of sharing with you what something is, so that you can resonate with you, and then giving the power back to you to trust your knowing that this is a journey worth going on, and that you are one of those people who are seeking and wanting to be on the fast track. So you know that. I don't know that for you. And so we just like to approach that kind of thing a little bit differently. So the exercise for this particular section, and then I'm going to read you a little bit more sort of a poignant thing about knowing how. But the exercise, along with the exercise from last time, is where in your life can you actually, where would be easy? Where would it be easy to actually let go of doing it your way, so that the or better or the miracle could show up? Where are you going round and round in circles and your way isn't working? Just look. Is it about your health? Is it about aging? Is it about your husband? Is it about your wife? Is it about your best friend? Is it about your sister? Is it about the environment? What is that about? Where are you going round and round in circles, where the limited right brain strategies of your way are just not working? Would you be willing to hold it very loosely and allow your higher levels just to bring you something beyond what you think should be the outcome and the how? Okay? That is your exercise. It's in the book. For those of you that sign up, as I said, you'll get the book and you'll be able to write all these awesome notes and keep track of this journey. So here is the end part of that particular chapter. It says, let go of figuring out how in your life. Allow creation to live through you. And what shows up might be dolphins. It might be rain. It might be friendships that last a lifetime. You can bet that it will be well worth the not knowing. Just think of it. Letting go of your grip on needing to know. It's not to say that you don't make plans or you don't, do spreadsheets. I certainly do those. Every year I do a budget. But at the bottom of the budget, in huge letters, is or better. And the words or better come from my higher knowing that my budget just gave my mind peace, so that the or better can actually show up. What a blessing that we are also taken care of by the entire universe when we simply say yes. Insert sigh here. And Simply saying yes without the embodiment, those innate abilities give you the capacity to read life, to understand what it's dancing with you about and what it's saying, to be able to go direct and take the steps necessary beyond the contemplation and the trying to figure it out. It's operating with life on a whole other level of incredible abundance. So it takes, though, embodying all of yourself to do that, because the capacity to do that comes from those innate abilities. So when we say we're taken care of by the whole entire universe, it's really hard to do that, because people who don't understand their innate abilities would say, oh, you mean surrender. And I'm not saying surrender, because surrender without the tools to actually operate directly with life is going to look like victimhood. You're going to get steamrollered. You're very powerful as you embody those abilities. So guys, just check it in. And I just want to share a couple more things and then a final activation. There was a question about someone was told that they're an angel on earth. You'll get a lot of misinterpretations from seers and psychics and all those kinds of people. And God bless, it's all perfect. It's all exactly what we need to hear. Probably everybody listening to this call knows someone that they perceive as an angel on earth. The truth is, angels live in a certain frequency where it's impossible to do anything considered to be mean or bad or destructive. They live in truly a state of bliss. That's an aspect of you that has the capacity for bliss. We are all our angelic realms as well as other realms. So yes, you are, and you're so much more. What do you do with that information? Well, you live it. You enjoy living it. Stop making it polarized and special. Everybody has the capacity to do that. A cherub incarnate on earth means that you've embodied the aspect of you that is the greatest love bug ever. Another question of hers is how she can learn more about the information, and I emailed her back and told her, go and take innate abilities. Just take that program. I just so recommend it. And are there others like you? Well, I think we just did a whole quantum wake-up call with a whole bunch of others just like her. So, I mean, those that are awakening are so special. So we're going to do one more exercise at the end. I just want to talk about a couple of things. As I mentioned on the last call, the activation of the dolphins that are all Pleiadian energy, being able to swim live with them is an experience that absolutely permanently changes your life. The rest of your life won't be the same. They are activators of a spirit of freedom and play. They absolutely activate who we came here to be. And so in that journey, those 12 people will be on a boat working with me for 6 days, 5 nights. That alone is such an amazing journey. That communion is so powerful. So that is happening from May 11th to May 16th. As I said, it will fill up very quickly. The price is $2,555. Another very special 9-day journey for those who are supremely called and have connections to Lemurians and the starseeds and who we really are, and always feel connected to Peru. For the first time, well, we've gone to Peru 3 other times, but for the first time we're going to Peru on the summer solstice in North America, which is my birthday, and the winter solstice in Peru. And we'll be going to places off the beaten track along with Machu Picchu and doing some extraordinary things that you've probably never experienced before, along with being together and me facilitating that for those 9 days. That journey you can find at www.thewideawakening.com. Finally, I will be all over. I'll be in Europe and North America. Coming up in Toronto will be February 11th, an evening event that I recommend you tell your friends in Toronto for. In London in the UK, March 5th, very powerful. In Phoenix, Arizona on April 1st, ha ha ha. And in Calgary, Alberta, for the first time in a very long time, on May 21st, there's an evening event. All of those are leading into a one-day event and Get Out of Your Own Way the following weekend. So if you want to find out more about Get Out of Your Own Way, about what we're up to, what I recommend is that you come to that evening event, which is always by donation to a local charity. And it's a powerful communion to come and play live with all these energies. Really, really powerful. So you'll find all of that on thewideawakening.com. So here is the final thing we're going to do in this quantum wake-up call. Remembering that, you know, we all collectively called each other to be here. Even the people that are listening to the recording of this, you also were part of this. You guys are all also part of the expansive activations and conversations that will occur flying forward as we go through the subjects of the Wide Awakening Handbook, which cover the aspects of human being, 30 different aspects of embodying all of who you are. It is not innate abilities, but it is master activations on the leading edge of consciousness, where you can also get all your questions answered and understand what's happening, so you can be at peace and be in fluidity in your life for these 12 months that you're part of the Quantum Wake-up Calls. And beyond, if you want to continue on Quantum Wake-up Calls, we have people that are in them for years. So, everybody, imagine your energetic hands completely connected to your soul family that is listening now and will listen in the future to these Quantum Wake-up Calls. Imagine some of the people that you might pass out these calls to, some of the people that might want to hear this, and we give you full permission to share these free ones with anyone. Imagine all of the people who have felt like they've been maybe misunderstood, or like they've seen things from 30,000 feet and that something else was possible. They always knew that human beings would awaken. They always wondered why they knew that harmony was possible and why the contrast was so painful. And now we're finding each other. And in this collective journey right now, we get to join hands energetically and resonate the heart of every cell with each other in an avatar moment of I see you, but not with our eyes. We see each other as the pure, divine child of God that came here to create upon creation, to co-create with each other, to watch all of the old come up with compassion, to watch the frustration with great compassion, because we know we've been through that as well, to do our best to be at that frequency that's so beautiful, so that when someone else forgets temporarily or engages something, we remember for them. And they have a greater capacity to come up because we've made this connection. I want to thank you all so, so much for being on this particular call. If you have interest in any of the things that I talked about, for those of you on Instant Teleseminar on the webcast, you'll see the links there. Jeannie has put the links in the live stream program. It is amazing that almost all of you stayed on this entire call that went a little bit longer than usual, but I want you to know that that's really a testament to the degree to which we're awakening. And you are all brothers and sisters, and I look forward to having many of you in the Quantum Wake-Up Calls, and hopefully many of you at the live events and the Get Out of Your Own Way. Please go and check them out. They're the fast track, and I am just deeply appreciative. My heart is full. I thank every last one of you. Please do share the recordings with people you know would appreciate them, and make sure, if you're not on the Wide Awakening weeklies, get on the wideawakening.com and go and sign up for them, because that Be the Change activation is so powerful that you get when you sign up for our weekly newsletter. So please make sure, if you haven't yet, that you do. And I'm just so excited that we got to commune together. I got to share something with you guys, just one last thing. So funny. Before I got on these Quantum Wake-Up Calls, there was an intensity of energy flying around, and our technology wasn't working, and my printer wasn't working, and it happens a lot when we're moving faster than our being can capacitate. Sort of, there's a log jam of energy, and part of it is like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And the part of me that is like in service. But remember, the pressure part, that old pressure part, the old stuff is simply coming up to go, you guys. It's the stuff in the corners and the cobwebs. Don't judge it as, oh, I'm back at the beginning again. It's not true. You're not back at the beginning. You get to laugh at it. The appropriate response is thank you. Thank you for coming up to go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah. Mwah. Can't wait to play with you again next time, you guys. And it's always my pleasure to offer these calls so you can learn more about what it is that we do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah. Okay.